So I'm gonna break down the tier list here into common, rares, and epics, right? So for my common tier list, you guys can see over here, my first S tier, it has to be, I mean, it's meta dependent. So at this point, the meta, I mean, they are balance changes. They could nerf, they could buff stuff. So at this point, in June 2024, the meta now, it is about farming can win you games. So Trader, I think Trader is up there because the amount of gems that you're getting from Trader is insane. So Greg, personally, I prefer it as a farm compared to Mavis. Because Greg, for certain modes where you go into the middle, you can still survive with Greg. You know, if there are angry vines, or you know, if the things are getting, if the arena is getting smaller, Greg is still strong because there are trees in the middle, but there are no carrots in the middle for Mavis. So that's why I rank Greg slightly a little bit ahead of Mavis. So Greg and Trader is the mainstay here for me at S tier. And then for A tier, I'm gonna put in all the other range units here, your Colt, your Heavy, your Shelly. They all have different utilities. Colt is very strong at the start, you know, when you are able to slow people down. So if you can slow people down, that one you can either chase or you can run away. So that is very strong. Heavy, it's very strong because when you stay still, it's actually super powerful. Don't move, just hold down your boots button, you know, to get the increased speed, and that's very strong. Shelly has a different utility. It allows you to do a knockback, so that one is also pretty strong for engage or to run away. So the knockback is pretty good. Barbarians is probably the best tank that you can have early game. 2 Barbarians at the start is actually pretty insane. So that is why. And then, yeah, Mavis, I mean, the carrots are still good. So if you pick it in the middle of a 3-row carrot, it's actually very strong. And then I'm gonna rank Bo a little bit below here because Bo is only pretty good on monsters. If you decide to be a farming game, if you go in the middle, there are gonna be a lot of people around, so Bo is not super good against them, but it's very good against monsters. Early game, first pick Bo is pretty okay. One shot the Skellies, get 3 coins, move on to the next chest. Not too bad. El Primo, I'm gonna rank him a little bit below. I mean, he has a knockback, but I just don't fancy him. So I see a lot of people, here is the more controversial thing. A lot of people rank goblins and the chickens at the end of the tier. For me personally, they are not C tier. I'm gonna call them a wildcard tier here. Because goblins at the start actually can be pretty good. If you don't get your Gregs or your Mavis in the first one, you take the goblins. You get a bit of luck with your chest. So you can just pick goblins, run to the next chest. So if you pick goblins first, just run to the next chest, open up. If it's another goblin, you get a fusion goblin again. After that, basically you're all set at the start. In like less than 10-20 seconds, you already have 1 fusion character and you have a lot of gold. So that is to me a wildcard. The chickens are super underrated. If you don't have Hog Rider or Max inside the rotation, the chickens can determine if you survive, because there are just some idiots or crazy people who just chase people down around the whole map, right? So if you don't control your boots well, if you don't have chickens or they have chickens, they will run you down. And so I think it's a wildcard. So personally, if you guys watch me on stream, we do pick goblins and chickens quite often. So I hope I'll be able to release a new video after this one, you know, where we show that goblins actually can win you the game. So those are for the common characters. For my rare characters, I think this one is pretty standard. A lot of people would rank it the same. In terms of S tier, Tank and Hog Riders are pretty much up there. So if you want to buy units in the shop, right, the Tank and Hog Rider, it is the way to go. The Fusion Tank is in particular insanely strong. The Fusion Tank can one-hit a lot of units, as well as help you with clearing all the monsters there. Hog Rider is just for the speed. So in terms of A tier, I'm going to put all the range units there all together. So I think they all have their own utility. Pam gives good healing. Penny gives you a map which can win you games at the end. And the Wizard actually allows you to hold 2 spells, which I think is a game changer. If you have something like a String or a Rage, or you have Rage and Heal at the end of the game when you are taking in the fights, they do stack, so you can Rage and Heal at the same time, right? So I think it's insanely strong. Or if you throw in something else and then you use a Rage, you know, you push them back and then use a Rage, I think that is the game changer. That can win you games. For the only rare tank here, Nina is actually very strong, and B is also a bit underrated because the passive damage from the beast is actually quite high. And then in B tier, I'm gonna put the Medic because I think it's a little bit weaker than Pam, because the healing station from Pam is actually quite strong. And then Dynamite, I'm sorry, he has to go into the C tier. The attack speed is way too low, and the damage is just not good enough. So those are for the rare characters, very clearly at the top, Tank and Hog Rider. And then move on to the epic tier. So for the epic characters, we are gonna rank Max as the S tier, Archer Queen and Barbarian King because they buff all your range and your melee units respectively, so they are also gonna go into the S tier. So personally for me, I think the A tier I'm gonna put in Mortis and Witch, but it also depends on how early or how late you get them. To be honest, starting hand, if you're gonna say, I'm gonna say Mortis starting hand is probably one of the best things that you can get. So you can farm early, you can get all the units, and then you can build a big army. So Witch starting hand is also very nice, because if you have the Skelly Barrel at level 3 Witch, you can also clear units pretty quickly. So that's why they go into A tier only, because it depends on when you get them. If it's gonna be endgame, Mortis might not be that strong. If it's the last 20-30 seconds left, Mortis is not gonna win you or lose you the game. It's practically useless. So in the last 30 seconds, something like a Battle Healer, one copy of a Battle Healer boosts up your whole squad here, might actually be better. Your Royal King here gives you only the recruits. The actual recruits are actually pretty strong also. So you guys can see, just running the replays here, we're getting a lot of bugs at the same time, just crashing out. But we're coming to the end of the video, so this is how I will rank the epic. So also dependent on which time you get. Like even for the rares, if you get Penny at the end, you feel like you cannot fight in the middle because you're outnumbered. Their tanks, their units are too strong, they're higher than you. So you take Penny and then you go outside and you try to get the maps, get the gems, and you might still win the game. So hopefully we can release more video on Squad Busters throughout this month here or the next month, in the next few months. And I hope that you guys will support the squad busting stream. We're gonna release some individual ones, like, you know, showing how good the goblins are. We're gonna show some nice steals at the end, which we have always done on stream. When you realize that you can't win, how are you gonna be able to find out that last push or to outplay them at the last second? In terms of skill wise, this game is pretty good for people like me without much skill, right? You don't need so much skill, because you cannot control the characters. You can only think like how you want to engage, whether you want to engage, or whether second place might be the best for you because they have much higher characters. And if you don't like to attack, you like to farm, you can take your Gregs, your Mavis, farm outside the entire game and still win because of the trader. So I think a lot of possibilities. The one thing that I want to mention, downside here actually, is for people in Squad League, all the characters are actually the same. That's what we have been seeing, right? Everybody's running the same characters. So to be honest, this kind of sucks, actually. I mean, you're limiting everybody to 15 characters, and if there's a matter, everybody, for this hand, everybody's gonna go Mavis Trader or Greg Trader, and then everybody's gonna pick the same units. And then everybody's gonna have literally the same kind of team inside. So I think that limits it. In any game, you don't limit the meta, right? You have so many units, you should just open it up. Some people will decide to go and farm, some people will decide to go in, you know, to control the middle. So I think this one, they shouldn't limit everybody in Squad League to be the same. RNG definitely plays a part. Even if I go in now in the starting hand, I don't get Mavis, I don't get Greg, I get the other three, Trader, Shelly, Barbarian, and then you choose to reroll, you might still not get it. Somebody goes in, has a Greg or maybe starting hand, and then they're popping off already. So RNG definitely plays a part in this game. So why bother to limit the squads? Imagine, like, for League of Legends or Dota, you are only limited to 15 characters for both teams, and everybody's gonna use the same meta units. It's unthinkable. No AAA title will limit this unit here. So that's my opening thoughts here on this game. I don't know, it's they just launched, right? So you gotta give them a little bit of time, and we'll see how things goes. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and don't forget to catch me on my streams here on YouTube as well. We do stream quite regularly on weekdays, so don't forget to check it out. And I hope I'll see you guys then. And don't forget, guys, most importantly, if you guys haven't downloaded the game, you guys can use the QR code above, as well as use code TheGamingDog. So this one lasts until the end of June. If you guys want to support me as a streamer, don't forget to use it. Only available in Squad Busters. And I'll see you guys next video or on one of the live streams. Take care and peace out, people.